How's it going, guys? Here we are again doing some shiny hunting tonight. We are back in Scarlet. I took that poll a few days ago, and it seems like Scarlet was the game of choice when it came to shiny hunting, which is perfectly fine by me. I happen to love Scarlet and or Violet, I guess. And the shiny hunting is pretty satisfying in those games, just for the fact that you get to make sandwiches and feed them to your Pokemon and to your motorcycle dragon, your prehistoric motorcycle dragon, I guess I should say, and then run around on it and catch shiny. So it really doesn't get, any better than that as far as shiny hunting. And the rates are phenomenal, by the way. I think the shiny hunting in Scarlet and Violet is probably the best, in my opinion. Legends ZA and Legends Arceus are probably a close second. If Scarlet and Violet had, the shiny sound, it would be hands down the best shiny hunting game ever. But that would probably be pretty OP, kind of overkill, I think, with the shinies, in all honesty. So, so we're just gonna hang out. I don't know how long we'll go. I'm kind of random. Typically, I'll do these kind of streams for, anywhere from 2 to 3 hours in most cases. So if you're here, thanks for being here. Feel free to jump in the chat at any time. Don't be a stranger. You will not weird me out, believe me, considering that I am about as weird as one can be, in all honesty. So if you've got questions about the game or about whatever, or just want to say hey, feel free to do so. And we'll go ahead and get started here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I just flew into Paldea, and I have not actually looked at the map yet. So we're going to see what we got here. There must be some kind of giraffe rig event going on, I think like I mentioned last time. I haven't actually looked it up to know what event that may be, but clearly we've got giraffe rig spawning quite a bit here, which is cool. We actually got several. I think I might still have them in my boxes, actually. Last time, which was really awesome. Yeah, so here's the ones we got. I think, honestly, these have all been streams so far. So the Tauros was a total rando, right? You know how Tauros, charges you? This one actually didn't charge me, but he was just, chilling out. And I caught this little green fella while we were actually hunting for giraffe rig in the biodome, as I call it, in the terrarium. And we ended up getting 3 giraffe rig, one of which I ended up evolving into Farigiraf, I believe is the correct pronunciation. That's a pretty sick shiny. I kind of like that hot magenta going on there with the blue nose kind of carrying over from giraffe rig. That's pretty awesome. And then Bonsly we got as well. That one was rough, man. Bonsly took a while. The one that I do think was the roughest was from a couple streams ago, which is Hatena. That was brutal. Just for the fact that Hatena is so small, it's hard to see, which is kind of a problem with, shiny hunting in Scarlet and Violet. If there's one drawback, you don't have the animation, I guess you could say. And you don't have the shiny sound as far as the spawns that you see, in the environment. Obviously once you, enter a battle with one of those shinies, it's going to give you the animation and the little sound effect. But unfortunately, as opposed to Legends Arceus and Legends ZA, we don't have the little doodle-lip, that makes you seize up when you hear it. Regardless, I do love me some shiny hunting in Scarlet and Violet. So let's take a look here and see. Ooh, Gallade and Vaporeon. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. I could get down on some Gallade. Zangoose? Okay. I like Zangoose's shiny. I believe it's blue instead of red. Zangoose is a sick shiny. I don't know, maybe I've associated it with Go. In Go, it's a regional exclusive. I think in my neck of the woods here in North America, we've got Seviper, and so I'm just sick to death, dude, of seeing Seviper. Seviper's everywhere. But Zangoose, I think, is an exclusive to other parts of our planet. And I don't know. For that reason, when I see Zangoose, I'm like, ooh, Zangoose. So that would be a good one to do. It's got a really cool shiny with the blue instead of the red. And again, we've got our draft rig here. There's a Gyarados outbreak here as well. If you're watching right now and have a preference on what you might like to see, let me know. Otherwise, we might just run with one of these. I think Vaporeon is just super cool as well. It's hard to pick, honestly, between Vaporeon, Gallade, and Zangoose down here. That's a toss-up. I don't know. I know I have a Zangoose. I know I have the entire Ralts line, including Gardevoir and Gallade shiny as well. I think I'd be almost positive I've got plenty of shiny Eevees and Vaporeon as well. I don't know. I'm good with any of those. It never hurts to have an extra. I have a massive backlog of extra shinies that I do need to trade at some point. But anyway, I mean, Gyarados, like, you know, shiny Magikarp's like a dime a dozen in ZA, so I'm not sure that that's really worth. Carbink, I know I have. Swaddle, I think I'm good on. Starly, I'd have to check my home. I think I'm good on the Starly line. And again, with Legends Arceus, that's a pretty easy one as well. There's Petalil there. I think I'm good on Petalil. Carbink, I know I have several of. Let's see what we got in the Biodome here. There's the Farigiraf on the right side. We've got Sawsbuck. We've got Deerling. I think... You know, Deerling... I probably do need some more Deerling, actually, for... the 4 seasonal forms, if I had to guess. But... it's a pain in the butt, I think, depending on which one it is. Love Disc would be kind of fun. And Love Disc is super easy because I think it's like bright yellow, isn't it? I'm just going to go see what this Love Disc looks like because I probably need a shiny Love Disc. Now that I think about it. Okay. I love the music in this game so much. Particularly in the terrarium. It's just... Is that a shiny... No way. No way. No way. No way. No way. Are you kidding me right now? Seriously? That is the fastest shiny I have ever gotten in my life. Much less on stream. I'm glad that I was streaming for this because we just got a shiny Tentacruel. I mean, I walked into it. I just saw the green and I was like, there's no way. Wow. Well, if that's an omen, it's a pretty good omen, right? Wow. Cannot believe that. Got it on our first quick ball too. That's crazy. It makes me want to like make sure I'm not missing any others here. There's 80s hairband. Oh, Doug Trio. Yeah, that was nuts, man. That was like I've definitely come across, you know, like unintentional shinies in Scarlet and Violet for sure. But it's usually like the really obvious ones like Litleo and that sort of thing, which are dime a dozen now from like whatever Wild Zone that is. Wild Zone 3, I think maybe. In ZA, where you can literally just like rubber band your controller and walk up and down that steps, you know, to refresh the spawns. But like, seriously, that was nuts. Like, it's not too often that as soon as I fly into an area, like there's the shiny. Like usually you're like running around and the spawns are refreshing, but that spawned in immediately. That is nuts, man. Okay. Yeah, let's go for Love Disc. I think that would be kind of fun. Gotta do our 60 here. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. I'm usually not a fan of the water ones, but we can make this work. This isn't too bad. 8, 9, 10. Was that 11? Yeah, he's still going for him over there. 12. Vikavolt is ruthless, man. Ruthless. 13. 14. 15. 16. Let's see what else we got. 17. I hope this controller's not too loud in the mic. If it is, I apologize. It's probably annoying. 18. I just got this. It's like a cheapo. 19. It's like a. It's basically like a 20. It's like an Xbox controller. I forget exactly. It's the Armor 3 New Champ. I kind of like it. It's kind of I mean, it was really affordable. I want to say it was only like 20 or 30 bucks. But it's really comfortable actually. It's a little bit smaller than the Nintendo you know, the official like Pro controller. But I've kind of liked it. That's not sponsored, by the way. That's just me sharing a tidbit. Okay. I've been thinking about getting one of those 8-bit dough with like the macros. This one does have macros, which is why I actually bought it. Well, it has turbo, I should say. It doesn't have macros. I was looking for something that had macros for obvious reasons. You know anything about Legends ZA, you can straight up just turbo / macro your way to shinies. But this one just has the turbo function, which isn't all that useful. Okay, so there's 25. So we got to do that another time until we see that for the second time, that message. And then we will have knocked out 50. So on the second message, you do 10 more. And then you've reached your increased shiny odds. Similar to, I guess, like the SOS battles in, what was that, Sun and Moon? That was actually one of my favorite shiny hunting methods. I think I mentioned that maybe last time. But the SOS battles were awesome in Sun and Moon, with like the adrenaline orb and that sort of thing. I had a lot of fun with that. But anyway, yeah, the macro controllers, I hear 8-bit dough is really good, so I'd like to try one of those eventually. Because I guess depending on the capability, rather than just, you know, like a turbo controller, like repeating the same button over and over again, you could actually, you know, program at a proper macro to actually, you know, move the stick, and not physically, but, you know, digitally. Probably automate a lot of stuff easier. And ZA, because ZA obviously, it's all about refreshing those spawns and the distance that you are away from them. I think like the 50 meters or whatever it is kind of the sweet spot. So as soon as you fly in and out, you know, as soon as you fast travel to a location in ZA, it's going to reset all those spawns from what they were previously. Which is kind of, you know, the new core of shiny hunting, I guess, as far as the method goes. It's just a matter of refreshing those spawns. With Scarlet and Violet is really no different. You know, you're just moving away far enough to reset those spawns. But in ZA, you know, you have the added advantage of the shiny sound and the little animation before you actually enter a battle, which is nice. So, yup. Plus, like, visually, there's our second one, so we need 10 more. Visually, I think the Pokemon just look great. Like, the models are fantastic in ZA, in my opinion. What was that, 3? Like, Magikarp, for example, actually has, like, a metallic, you know, like, sheen to it for its shiny. I'm losing count. I need to really pay more attention to my numbers here. I'm not so good with numbers. Let's see. We'll just do a couple more. So, yeah, one of the annoying things about water is they can actually go under the water. And in that case, you know, you can't get to them. I don't know, like, how the game's coded for them to, like, return up or anything like that. If it's, like, a certain amount of time or how that works, but it's kind of a pain for some shiny hunts. Like, I know Dratini in particular is kind of a pain in the rear because it likes to take a little dip under the water, which makes sense, you know. Like, Dratini originally was like, what was Dratini's original location to encounter? I think it was Safari Zone. I think he had a Super Rod in the Safari Zone in Gen 1, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll just do... There's one. There's one. There's one. See our little yellow heart? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's our second shiny. How long have I been streaming? 26 minutes. You guys, as my witness, 26 minutes in, and we've got not one, but two shinies. One of which we were going for. Alright. Our yellow heart love disc. The first of which was a Tentacruel that as soon as I flew into this spot in the terrarium, it was just chilling there. Like, what is going on? Like, check it. I'm not lying. Look at that. Are you kidding me? That is the fastest 26 minutes, 2 shinies. That is the fastest I have ever gotten shinies outside of Go. Like, that's craziness. I'm just gonna keep... This is like... I don't know what is happening. Well, we got one love disc. I mean, I guess we could keep trying for more if you wanted to, but honestly, like, I am pretty pleased with how this has gone so far. Because, like, the last couple, we were struggling, folks. We were struggling. Like, Hatsuna was brutal. Bonsai was brutal. And we just got 2 in 26 minutes. Like, I cannot believe it. Maybe, hey, maybe there's something to the water shinies now. Maybe I've been missing out on these aquatic shinies. Shiny's a shiny, as they say. Or at least I say that. You know, you can never have too many. Let's see here. I always think of Love Disc as like a pre-evolved form of what's the Pokemon? Alola? But it's not. It's just like this independent, pure water type, serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm good because in 26 minutes we got shiny Love Disc and shiny Tentacruel completely unintentionally, which was bizarre. So we might just move on, honestly, to something else. Because that is pretty sick. 2 shinies in 26 minutes, man. That is some kind of luck. It's better luck than I've had in real life, I can tell you that much. If I had the kind of luck in real life that I've had with shiny Pokemon, I don't know, man. Like, I'd be competing with Bezos or something, because, well, I say that, I mean, sometimes I struggle with different hunts. It just depends on what we're hunting. Today was a good one, though. Well, you know, I say that, but like I mentioned in, you know, that video a while back, it was one of the types of players video, my whole story about the Graveler in Crystal. That was a tragedy, man. Like, the first shiny that I've ever seen in a Gen 2 game. There it is. It was on that route just south of, what was it, Blackthorn City. And there it is. And I'm kidding you not, like, Crystal is my favorite Pokemon game of all time, bar none. and I've played the heck out of that game. I can't tell you how many times I've played through Crystal, how many hours I've dumped into that game. And, of course, now I'm playing it, you know, on the Virtual Console on the 3DS. But I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Holy crap. It's a shiny, you know? And I've never even seen one. Like, it was just to see, like, the animation and the sound effect, it startled me. I was like, what is going on? And then, of course, you know, I throw a couple Ultra Balls, and afterwards, it uses self-destruct, right? So, that's my luck. Yeah. Ooh, sorry, Mr. Executor. I love how they brought back all the Alolan forms in the coastal biome in the DLC. It's pretty awesome. Because you got, like, I guess, like, Alolan Grimer chilling out over there, too. Alolan Vulpix, I believe, is in this DLC. There's more, I'm sure. I have a special place in my heart for Sun and Moon, I'm not gonna lie. I really, really, really need to replay Sun and Moon. I feel like that's all I talked about last time, was just like all the games that I need to replay. Of which there are many. Not seeing any more. We might move on, guys. We already got a shiny love disc, and I'm good. I don't need more than one shiny love disc, really. I mean, why? Why would I need more than one shiny Valentine's Day heart candy, really? See what else we got. Flygon. We've already gotten Flygon. Our giraffe fellas are still chilling there. Deerling. I'm tempted by Deerling, but I just don't know, like, which form it is, and depending on the form, they can be very, very tricky to spot. We can take a look here. Because you've got, like, the spring, the summer, the fall, and the winter forms, you know, of Deerling. And I don't know... Is that the fall one, I suppose? Yeah. You know what? One of them's pink. Like the shiny's pink. I know like one of the forms, base form, is like pink. Let me look that up actually, because I don't know. I'm gonna have to refresh my brain on shiny Deerling. Shiny Deerling. Somebody's got a handy dandy reference image on Reddit. Let's see here. Okay, so this one... It's got the yellow. Okay, so this must be... I think this is fall. Yeah, I'm pretty confident this is the fall form. So it's gonna have a pink flower. Okay, that helps. That helps. I think that will do it. Okay, so we're gonna be looking for a pink flower on Deerling. One. Actually, I'm not gonna count, man. I can't keep track anyway. I'm just gonna watch for the messages. That's a lot easier. Oh yeah, Geodude and Graveler's Alolan forms were brought back in this DLC, which is pretty cool. So. can't remember actually if Deerling was... well, I want to say everything that spawns here in the DLC was new to the game. I'm pretty sure that would make the most sense, actually. But I feel like no, I take that back. I think I've seen Deerling in Paldea. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm almost positive that Deerling wasn't new to the DLC. I think it was already there, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, so that's 25. Gonna need that pink flower action is what we're going for. You know, speaking of fall, I don't know about y'all, but I've always been like a summer person. You know, I think not so much that I love summer as much as I hate winter. I hate the cold. It's just like really, really difficult for me. It's just, I don't know, I have like a visceral reaction to the cold. It's depressing. I think like, you know, the lack of sunlight and all that stuff. I'm not gonna lie, today maybe was the first moment in my life, possibly, I was gonna say this year, but maybe ever, that I was like, I'm kind of ready for fall. I don't know, it was just a weird, maybe I'm getting old. And pretty soon I'm gonna be wearing like sweaters and drinking soup or something, man. I don't know. But my wife basically has a hoard of candles, you know, and I was like, hey, you got a candle that I can get going downstairs, and so she brings out this plethora of candles. I mean, there's like 10 or 12 of these things, and I'm looking at them all, and there's our second one, so we need 10 more. 1, 2, 3. There's all these candles, and there's all these like fruity ones. 4, 5. But there was a pumpkin spice one. 6. So that's a big one. That's a big Bambi. I think this is 8. This is 9. But I'm not gonna lie, I went for the pumpkin spice one. I feel like I lost some like man card cred maybe, but there was like, you know, green apple and like, you know, Bahama breeze or whatever the heck, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go with the pumpkin spice candle, and it was delightful. I will say as much. It was delightful. It's a weird feeling because usually I'm like, I want summertime, man. I want like 100 degrees outside. I want to be sunburned and sweating. I mean, I sweat constantly anyway. Like, I sweat profusely. Like, I've joked about that in videos, dude, but like, it's no joke. Like, I have a medical condition called hyperhidrosis where I sweat profusely. No matter the temperature, no matter stress level, I'm sweating right now, you know. So I think that's actually part of the reason why. I think that's plenty. We can reset these spawns now. Looking for the pink flower on this feller, on little Bambi Dambi. Part of the reason why I think I like summer is because it gives me an excuse to be sweaty. You know what I mean? Because usually, like, people are looking at you, they're like, why are you freaking sweating, man? It's like 70 degrees outside. And it's like, oh, I just own it at this point. I just own it. Like, I'm sweaty. Like, I sweat profusely. It is what it is. And so it's weird in, like, the wintertime when you're, like, dumping sweat and people are looking at you like, what is wrong with you? You're like a medical marvel. Like, they need to make, like, a documentary or something out of you, man. But, so I think that's actually part of the reason why I've liked summer, because everybody's sweaty in the summer, you know what I mean? But now, I just feel like the heat is a little harder on me than it has been in the past. And part of that is probably just because I'm not getting any younger, you know what I mean? Like, I got back problems, I got all kinds of stuff going on, so it's what it is. And I'm talking about weather and seasons because of deerling, right? So there's a connection. Like, well, I am that random, but in this particular instance, there's a reason why I'm talking about what I'm talking about. Okay. That. But the whole, like, everything's pumpkin, you know? I feel like as soon as school starts, it's just like everything's pumpkin. It's just pumpkin explosion, you know? And it's like all these gals bust out the boots and the hats and the pumpkin spice this and all that. I'm like, that's a little much for me. I don't know. But I do like Halloween. The only problem with Halloween is where I live, it gets so freaking cold on Halloween. I don't know why, but it seems like it's just, I don't know. It's like, it's summer, sweat, all the way up until October 31st. And it's like, you know what? Those kids are gonna freeze while they're trick-or-treating. And it never fails. It never fails. I can't think of one time in my, 30 plus years on this earth, of which, I don't know, maybe 25, I was actually aware of my surroundings, that I had like a Halloween in this part of the world where it wasn't just cold. But anyway, maybe that's a benefit, actually. Maybe that, like, reduces, like, the odds of some kids, like, toilet paper in your house or something. Statistically speaking, who knows? But I don't know, like, today, for whatever reason, was like the first day that I was like, I'm kind of in that, like, fall, Halloween-y kind of feel, you know? And it literally seems like it's like Halloween was literally yesterday. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, it's crazy how fast time goes as you get older. So, like, I don't know how old you guys are, or, I guess maybe, like, YouTube Studio could tell me, like, what the average age is of the audience or what have you, but, like, once you get to be about my age, it is no lie, man. And I've always wondered that, because I started noticing it in, like, my 20s. I was like, okay, it was Christmas like 2 days ago, and now it's Christmas again. Like, what the heck, And there are actually reasons for that, like, scientifically, like, basically, your brain's perception of time is kind of relative. So, let's say you're 40 years old or whatever, 1 year of your life is 1 over 40, percentage-wise of your life. And that is much smaller relative to, if you're a 10-year-old and 1 year of your life. It's why, like when you're 10, summer vacations seem to last forever, man. I remember as a kid, like, consciously thinking, I'm just ready for summer because I'm done with school. Like, and of course everybody says that, but for me, it was like, I want summer to be my life, And that's what it felt like, because it felt like, June, July, August, whatever, went on for years is literally what it felt like to my underdeveloped brain. So, but now it's like, oh, yep, it's August. I better start weatherizing the yard. You know, it's just a weird thing, man. Getting older. It's weird. It's so weird. Because I still feel like a 16-year-old, you know. Like, I probably have the maturity level like a 16-year-old. And there's more to it than just the fact that I'm a huge Pokemon fan. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot more to it than that. Like, my sense of humor is so infantile. It's embarrassing, honestly. And I'm very fortunate that my wife has not just had enough of it, because I can embarrass the heck out of some people now. I've noticed that's another thing too. As I've gotten older, I've always had a spot of this, but in recent years it's become much more pronounced. I'm somewhat immune to embarrassment in some cases. There's definitely been things, don't get me wrong, some kind of foot in the mouth, you know, type of scenarios last 5 or 6 years for sure, which I do a lot of those too. But the older I've gotten, honestly, like, I've noticed I just don't get embarrassed as easily as I once did. I'm not nearly as self-conscious. And so I guess that's the whole, like, you know, old people or older people, whatever, as you get older, they lose their filter. I think you just stop giving a crap about a lot of stuff, which is honestly a good thing in a lot of ways. But it also doesn't justify being mean, you know? Like, there's some old folks out there, man. They'll just light you up. And you're like, okay. Like, I'll never forget this one time. I was at my grandmother's house, right? And she's like, you know, one of these like classic, you know, southern ladies, right? A Southern belle, I guess you could say. And I don't know how old I was at the time. I might have been 17. No, I was a little older than that. I was probably 18, 19, something like that. And I had put on a ton of weight, like, after high school. And, I mean, gosh, I was probably at least 50 pounds, probably more than that, heavier than I am now. And, I had just walked through my grandmother's living room with my shirt off for some reason. I think I had, like, just gotten out of the shower or something. I'm like, hey, Granny, what's up? You know, I didn't think a second thought about it. And she's sitting there in her recliner watching QVC. And she's like, you're getting fat. And I was like, oh, thanks, Granny, you know. But she just said stuff like that. You know, she didn't really mean it as, like, an insult. She just said, you know, whatever came to mind. And that's just how Granny rolled. Bless her heart. Old Granny. She was something else. She had a computer that she had gotten at some point. This was like, I don't know, early 2000s. It was back when, like, it was before even, I think, like, Windows XP. It was like Windows ME or like Windows 2000 or something like that, you know? The one that had the pinball game on it, the space pinball game, you know what I'm talking about? And it had that on it, and it had AOL, you know, America Online, and it had just like the most basic sound recorder you could think of. And she had like a microphone. Like, I don't know what she was planning on doing, like working from home for like like H&R Block or something. I have no idea. But every time we would go visit, that's all I would do. I'd play the freaking pinball game and do the voice recorder and like reverse my voice or speed it up and all that kind of stuff. So I've always kind of had a fascination with, like, I don't know, media kind of stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. I used to make like, oh, before I move on, the funny thing about the computer was she got the computer, she had it in a separate room. Like, she was just like perpetually camped out in like the living room, watching TV all day and buying crap she didn't need off of QVC or whatever. And she got this computer, and I don't remember what the lady's name was, but she's like, so-and-so is going to come over and teach me how to use the computer. And we'd be like, okay, Granny, all right, you know. And then, like, we would literally visit maybe once every 6 months, twice a year, something like that. And every single time, it was the same thing. One of these days, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to learn that computer. So, it's kind of a running joke amongst my extended family at this point. But yeah, as far as like the media kind of creative brain goes, I actually used to make like little cartoons. I think it was the 4th grade when they first started integrating a lot of technology, which was primitive, you know, compared to what we have now. But we had like, I don't know, like the smart boards in the classroom, and we were learning, you know, Microsoft Office and, you know, all of these sorts of things. And I figured out how to make basically like animations on PowerPoint. And what I would do is I would just, you know, use the like auto shapes, you know, on PowerPoint. And then I would just use, you know, each slide as a frame. And then I would just like hold the space bar or the arrow key or whatever and play them, you know, over PowerPoint. And I never really learned Flash or anything like that. But I remember at one point in the 4th grade, we actually, I guess we're taught a program. And it was like a dedicated like animation program for kids, which was really cool, you know, for a relatively rural, you know, public school district that I went to. And I made the most, hey, Tyler, Denny, we are hunting for deerling at the moment. I think this is the fall form of deerling. So we're looking for the pink flower. I think I need it. I'm not 100% sure, but given that there's 4 forms of deerling, odds are I probably need it. So that's what we're looking for at the moment. We did, like, no lie, like when this posts the recording, you can go back and look, man. Like, we got a love disc and then a tentacle completely accidentally in the first 26 minutes. 26 minutes. Mark my words. 26 minutes in, we had this tentacle. As soon as I traveled into terrarium, there the tentacle was. And then it wasn't long at all running one of the outbreaks of love disc that we got the love disc. So deerling has not been as kind to us, unfortunately, and I've been yakking about my life story. But anyway, I'll finish this story. So I made this cartoon on this animation program in the 4th grade. And keep in mind, this was like a project for school. Like, everybody had to do this and like show it to the whole class, right? So my cartoon, being the 10 or 11-year-old sociopath that I was, I guess, was like a dude on a skateboard, like going down like a busy highway, and he gets hit by this like Mack truck, and like all of his guts fly out, and there's like blood everywhere and all this kind of stuff. And I could tell when I showed it to the class, my teacher at the time, she was like simultaneously amazed at like what I was able to do with the program, but also horrified at the violence. And so she ended up actually showing it to like all the other 4th grade classes. I think there were like 3 other 4th grade classes. But I remember when she like went and showed it, she was like kind of apologetic, like, sorry about the blood, but it's really good. So I don't know. It's just goofy crap that I've done in my life. So that's actually like in my videos, like the little, I wouldn't say that's animation necessarily. It's pretty basic stuff, but I like doing the little, I don't know what you'd call them, little vignettes of the Pokemon and stuff like that, just because I think it's funny, and that's the kind of stuff that I've done since I was just a kid. So, yeah. Love Disc is a good one for sure. Hey, what's up, Matthew? How's it going? Glad you're here. Yeah, Love Disc is sweet. It's bright yellow. and makes no qualms about it. I don't know that I've had a shiny Love Disc in a main series game before. I think I have one on Go, but it doesn't hurt to get another one. So in Paldea, let me get parked here and I'll show you. There was actually some really cool ones. I think it was Gallade, Zangoose, and what was the other one? Vaporeon, I think it was. Yeah, so we got Vaporeon Outbreak here. We got Gallade here. And we got, I think it was down here, Zangoose right now. Where is it at? Yeah, we got Zangoose right here, which is a cool shiny. It's like blue. And then we've got Gyarados. I could have swore there was a Gyarados. There was. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Gyarados right here. Which is cool. But, I mean, I figured I've got so many stinking shiny Eevee at this point from events in the past that I don't really need another one. And Gyarados is kind of a freebie, really, for several reasons. I mean, you get the free one, obviously, in Gen 2, and then, you know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and then Legend ZA, like, you know, the Golden Magikarps are like a dime a dozen. So, not quite as ridiculously plentiful as, say, like the Litleo, but they're pretty darn easy to get for sure. So, let's see. So, Deerling apparently has, with the fall form, and I believe this is in fact the fall form, or the autumn form, whatever. I believe rather than the yellow flower and like the yellow trim that you see there, it's going to have pink instead. So that's what we're looking for. So I'm just resetting these spawns. I love how Porygon spawns in the polar biome. What's up with that? Maybe because it just doesn't give a crap that it's cold because it's a virtual creature, I guess. Speaking of virtual creatures, Tamagotchis were a thing back in my day, man. Tamagotchis. I got one behind me, actually. Right here. One second, I'll show you. This one's unopened, dude. I got this off of eBay, like, I don't know how long ago it was. It's been maybe like 10 years ago. They're probably not all that hard to find. But I got this bad boy on eBay. And, still in the box. Haven't even opened it. Thought that was kind of cool. But I love 90s nostalgia stuff. Like, Tamagotchis are sick, man. I had Gigapets. I remember I had, like, when Jurassic Park came out, like the original Jurassic Park, dude. I was like, well, actually, when did the original Jurassic Park come out? I can't remember. But I was really, really small when I first watched it. That was definitely early 90s. I can't remember if Jurassic Park came out in 90 or 91 or something like that. But anyway, I was just a little guy. I was probably like 3, 4, I think. And my parents had a VHS of the original Jurassic Park, and I watched the heck out of it. And I was basically a toddler. I loved it. I loved it. Didn't scare me. Thought it was fantastic. Because I was big into dinosaurs and stuff. And so I ended up getting a, what was it? It was a short-lived competitor to Tamagotchi, Gigapets is what it was. And I had a T-Rex Gigapet. I wish I still had that thing. That was back when you're drinking Surge all day and feeding your Tamagotchi and playing your Super Nintendo, man. You didn't have a care in the world. It was better days, in my opinion. More innocent times. In my humble opinion. Training up my shiny Metagross I got back in 2014. Nice. What game was that? 2014. I'm trying to think. Unless, I mean, yeah, I guess it could have been Gen 3. Was it Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, or another game? I'm trying to think of other games that Beldum is obtainable in. I think Sun and Moon, you can get Beldum, right? Alpha Sapphire, nice. Yeah, I got Omega Ruby of those two. Just because I had Ruby, you know, as my original Gen 3 game. I got my copy of Ruby for Easter from my mom. Whatever year that was. And I just remember I loved that game. I remember I was at my grandparents' house, actually, and I fired up Ruby for the first time, and I was blown away just at the massive step forward in, you know, the graphics, and I thought, you know, Groudon on the cover was super sick, and I just had a blast. So, let's see. I have not yet found a Deerling yet. I think I've knocked out enough. I think. We'll knock out a couple more just to make sure. This is what I mean about Deerling. Like, I don't think I've missed any, but man, they're a pain for some reason. They're never... Yeah, so we've got the not many left from the original Outbreak message, so I know that we've knocked out enough. We had to have. But man, they're elusive. The Smeargle just chilling down there. We'll keep going. If y'all get bored of Deerling, we can move on to something else. Deerling's not exactly one of my favorite Pokemon by any means. We can keep going for a little bit here. The gift one. Okay, so there was a gift Metagross in Alpha Sapphire then. I guess I don't remember that. Was it like a distribution event, like a card or something? If so, that's probably why I don't remember. I wasn't all that plugged in during Gen 6. Just for the fact that I think, you know, like college and stuff. I ended up going back and getting Y and then later Omega Ruby. But I did not. Those were one of the few games that I didn't actually get at launch. Same with Black and White, actually. I think just because I was like moving into college at that time. Surrounded by Deerling here. But Metagross is a sick shiny too. It's got like the silver going on. Or no, not silver, like the gold. It's got like the gold trim on it, I think. I think I got that right. It's like a gold. And of course Metagross is just a sick Pokemon to start with. A supercomputer Pokemon. Mega Metagross is super cool too. One of those instant fan favorites. Right up there with Tyranitar, Salamence, you know, all those really cool pseudos. Gotta love the pseudo legendaries. I feel like Tyranitar should be my favorite, but it's not. Just for the fact that Gen 2 is like my all-time favorite gen, because it's the gen that I kind of grew up with the most. But unfortunately, Larvitar is locked to the post game. Like, I don't think you encounter Larvitar until Mount Silver, and even then it's a fairly rare encounter. So I think my exposure to Tyranitar was limited. I actually grabbed one in my latest playthrough of Crystal. The one in which I lost my shiny Graveler, of course. But I grabbed a Larvitar and brought him all the way up to a T-Tar, which, phew, buddy, you want to talk about a grind? That's a grind. I forget exactly which level it is that Pupitar evolves, but I want to say it's like 50-something. Like 55 or something ridiculous like that. Which a lot of the pseudo-legendaries are like that. But Gen 2 makes it that much worse because that gen, if you haven't heard, it's got a level curve problem, man. Like, the highest level Pokemon you can find in the game are at Mount Silver, and they're not all that high. So it's a slog. Just really to grind XP in those games in general. Which is why I think when I was going to start a Nuzlocke, which believe it or not, like seriously, I have never done a Nuzlocke in my life. Except for the one that I just posted the video about. And I'm like, definitely more than halfway. Am I getting lost? No, there it is. Okay. But I just finished Blaine. I just finished Cinnabar Gym. Got the volcano badge, and so I've got just, you know, the rematch with Giovanni coming up. Currently at the Sevi Islands and all that, which I'm admittedly not all that familiar with, just because I, for whatever reason, I actually didn't play Fire Red until much later. But where was I going with this? What was I talking about? I don't even remember. Oh, Nuzlocking. I've never done a Nuzlocke before, ever. And somebody commented on one of my community posts. It's been a couple, I say weeks, it's probably been like 2 months ago, something like that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I've never done a Nuzlocke. Like, would you recommend Fire Red and Leaf Green? Like, I hear, you know, that's the games to start with if you're getting into Nuzlockes. And he's like, yep, those are the best ones to do, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I started this Nuzlocke, right? And it's not been a complete disaster. But as I kind of lay out in this last video I just uploaded, I don't know, maybe like an hour ago. Not an hour ago. It's just a couple hours ago. I uploaded it right before I started the stream here. I have made many mistakes. I'll leave it at that. It's been an eye-opener for sure. Tyler, have you done everything you need before? Oh my gosh, man. So I'm glad you brought that up because I was just thinking about that today. I literally wrote it down. Like, I've got like my little like to-do list here, you know? I wrote that down because the thought occurred to me, I think while I was in the shower today, which is when all of your rando thoughts pop in your head for whatever reason, right? And I was like, dude, I can guarantee you there's Pokemon that I need that are locked behind bank. As a matter of fact, I know, I think I've talked about this before. Ash Greninja, it's a technically separate form of Greninja, right? That has the Battle Bond ability that, from what I understand, is only obtainable by way of the Sun version demo on the DS, the 3DS. I have never gotten one. I don't have a 3DS that has that demo installed. And of course, you know, since the eShop closed, the only way to procure such a Greninja is by way of, you know, actually finding a 3DS that has that demo installed, or I guess like modding one out, which I just flat out don't know how to do. So I know that's one of them, but man, there's got to be so many things. If you can think of any, definitely feel free to post them there because I know there's got to be stuff that I need. A while back, I was actually working on getting all the Game Boy stamp Pokemon through the Virtual Console. I think I've got Yellow, Silver, and Crystal on the Virtual Console on the 3DS. I'm still kicking myself for not having gotten Red or Blue or both. But, you know, at the time, you're like, oh, I can get these anytime now, whatever. And then boom, it's closed down. You don't really think about it. But I think between Yellow, Silver, and Crystal, I think I can just about get, you know, all of the Gen 1 and Gen 2 dexes with the Game Boy Origin mark. And I started working on that a while back. I caught everything that I could possibly catch in Yellow, you know, without trading. And then I transferred a ton to Bank, and then, you know, from Bank to home. And then in my latest Crystal playthrough, I remember hatching a ton of eggs and basically, you know, evolving stuff and trying to get basically a living dex to the furthest extent that I could. And I made decent progress with it. I kind of fell off of that a few months ago. I really need to dig back into that because that is definitely on my mind. I saw that announcement and I'm like, oh crap, there's got to be stuff. And then that's not even accounting for all the other games, you know, from that point on. I mean, obviously there's, you know, Ruby, Sapphire, Platinum, or not Ruby, Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, and Black and White 2, X and Y, I almost said Z. There was no Z. And then, you know, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, ORAS, and then, is that it? Yeah. I guess that was pretty much everything, I think, on the DS era. I've got a copy of Black. I've got a copy of Black 2. I've got Y. I've got Sun, Moon, and Ultra Moon. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get busy, as a matter of fact. And I actually had the thought, I don't know how you guys would feel about this, but I thought about doing like, I don't know how I would go about this. I guess I would announce it, you know, maybe in a video and post about it or whatever, and then maybe start. There's a shiny Graveler. Check it. Ah, a Alolan Graveler. I love it. But what I thought about doing was actually helping people out with the stuff behind bank in that era, if anyone needs anything, and maybe just doing a casual stream like this, and trading with folks if they need that stuff. Because, I don't know, not to get like too sappy or whatever with you guys, but I've never really had friends ever. Which that's partially true. I've never really had anyone to play Pokemon with for most of my life, in all honesty. So part of what I'm trying to do with YouTube now is, you know, it sounds so cliche, right? But like, explosion. Oh crap. What? These Gravelers hate me. Glade. You have got to be kidding me. Oh no. No. I hope you guys saw that. That I was just talking about losing the Graveler in Crystal. Oh gosh. I hope I got that. I hope I got that on video. I think I did. That is nuts, man. Lost a shiny Graveler with explosion this time. It wasn't self-destruct, it was an explosion. But anyway, be sure to sound off about that if you saw it, because that was tragic. No, I've never really had people, you know, to talk Pokemon with, to play Pokemon with. So part of what I wanted to do, like, with this channel is basically like make my own space, you know, if that makes any sense, to like talk Pokemon with people, because I'm just a dude, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm an expert at Pokemon or an expert at YouTube or anything of the sort. Like, I just love Pokemon and wanted to, you know, build the space where you can do that. And of course there's a lot of stuff out there, you know, currently there's a lot of stuff, you know, with all over the internet right now, you know. But I feel like I needed a home base, if you will, if that makes any sense. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to do with this, and part of that is I want to give back if I can, you know, and kind of be that, you know, fellow Pokemon fan that I wish I had throughout my life. So anyway, with that said, if I could help out, you know, with bank closing down, what was it, like February, I think it was, is the official shutoff date. If there's like, you know, hey, I need whatever from Omega Ruby, or I need this from Black 2, or whatever it is, you know, I could just start cranking those out, you know, catching stuff, breeding it, whatever I need to do, and then maybe just run a couple streams and trade those with people. I don't know, just a random thought that I had. I feel like that might be something kind of fun to do and help some folks out. So, but if that's something that you guys would be interested in, you know, especially if you don't have a 3DS and bank, you know, in the games from the DS era, feel free to let me know, you know, whether it's here or whatever. Because I'd like to do something like that if I could, to help some folks out if I can. Deerling is not cooperating at all. I don't think I've missed any. Maybe I have, but I don't think I've missed any. These all look yellow to me. I have not seen any pink flowers on these little Bambi fellas. And apparently that's the shiny for the autumn or fall Deerling form. I cannot believe that about that Graveler, man. I cannot believe that. That is so freaking crazy. That is my luck, isn't it? Graveler hates me. It's something about Graveler. He hates my guts. That was just the fact that I was just talking about losing that shiny Graveler, and then there it happens again. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Of all the things. You know, and that's something I love about Pokemon, is the randomness of it all. You know, you never know. You never know. Like, odds are, you're not going to find a shiny in certain games. Like, odds are, it will never happen. You know, you're more likely to probably be struck by lightning or something, right? But you never know. There's always that chance. I mean, it sounds like gambling, really. And it kind of is, but, you know. I like to think it's a more innocent, less harmful version of gambling. Right? I was going to say less addictive, but that's not true. It's every bit as addictive. Pokemon Go, I would argue, is more addictive probably than any form of gambling. It's pretty brutal. And I'm hopelessly addicted, and I fully admit that. So, anyway. But I'm trying to think. I don't know if you guys can think of any other I was gonna say Pokemon, like categories of Pokemon to grab. I'm sure there's videos out on it. I think Austin John put something out a while back. It looks like that I need to watch still. About, you know, basically what to grab from bank before it shuts down. So I knew it was coming. I tried not to think about it, but it was inevitable. But it looks like they're adding home functionality for Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch, which is kind of cool. So, and I didn't like read the announcement all that closely, but it looks like they're adding some of the events, like the Eon ticket and stuff. And I guess like Deoxys will be obtainable. So that's kind of cool. I'd have to go back and look at the announcement, but it looks like maybe that's like the rewards for completing the Pokedex and home. So that's kind of cool. I do hope that eventually, you know, and it seems as though with Fire Red and Leaf Green being added to the Switch that that's the direction that they're heading. you know, adding the classic games to the Switch. I hope that that's the case. You know, I would be tickled to death if they would put Red and Blue and Gold and Silver and Crystal, you know, on the Switch. I think they probably should. So I'm sure there's reasons why they haven't. You know, I'm not really an expert on all that stuff. I'm sure it involves, like, you know, licensing and all that kind of stuff. But maybe not, though. I mean, it's not like it's a third-party game. I don't know what the reasons for not doing that would be. I mean, for the longest time, they didn't have Donkey Kong 64 on the Switch Online, which is happens to be one of my favorite games of all time. And finally, they added it. So I don't know. Obviously, it's got to be, you know, some kind of money thing involved too, like with anything. But I got Donkey Kong 64 when it originally launched. Loved that game. The yellow cartridge. And you had to get the expansion pack, right? For the 64, you had to plug in some extra memory for that bad boy. That game is huge. I think it holds the world record for most collectibles in any video game ever to this day, I believe. Tyler, are you only streaming on YouTube? I am only on YouTube at this point. You know, I had the thought recently, I might give Twitch a shot. I have never done it before. But I figured, why not, you know? Then I could always just point back to YouTube here or whatever. So yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on that or any pointers on Twitch streaming, let me know. Because honestly, I love the streaming. It's so cool. I just think it's such a cool concept, you know, of like hanging out with people, chatting to people while you're playing a game. I mean, the thing about it is, hey, Lena, how's it going? I hope I'm saying your name correctly, by the way. Good to see you again. I think you joined us a while back. I don't know. It's just a cool concept. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'd be doing anyway, you know? Like, you're literally watching exactly what I would be doing by myself, you know? So it's like, you might as well have somebody to talk to while you do it. It's just fun. So... But yeah, I guess with like the bank thing, like going back to that, I guess, you know, you've got the Game Boy stamp. I haven't actually sat down to think through this yet, but like you'll have the Game Boy stamp, you know, for Gens 1 and Gen 2. You'll have, I guess all the origin marks for, what was it? I know like, what was the origin mark for Gen 6? It was like the little pentagon, like the little 5-sided thing, right? I think. Sun and Moon had the little, it looks like a little plus or like a clover leaf symbol. And then I don't think Black and White and like Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Diamond and Pearl Platinum, I don't think they have an origin mark because they're not 3DS games, but just plain DS games. But you can know, you know, which games that they were obtained in just by, you know, such and such Pokemon, you know, was caught in the, you know, Johto region or whatever, and it doesn't have a Game Boy stamp, then you know it was Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So yeah, that's a huge undertaking, man. That's like a lot of work that I'm probably gonna have to put into grabbing stuff that I don't have from that era, of which there is a lot. I mean, I've got several boxes like in home currently, you know, that I've got designated as like, hey, these are Sun and Moon, whatever, Black and White 2, whatever, but there's so much that I would still need. I guess I just never really thought that they'd close it. You know, I mean, I knew at some point they'd have to, you know, shut bank down, you know, at some point. But one of those things, like, you hope it never happens to you, you know? But here it is. So it's an intimidating thought, because I don't know about you guys, but like, I get a lot of like, maybe FOMO's not the right word, but if I'm missing something collection wise, it bothers me a lot. And so, but I think that just speaks to how neurotic I am, honestly. But yeah, so sometimes I have to kind of check out. I have to be like, okay, I didn't get, you know, that Pokemon with the mightiest mark, you know, in Scarlet and Violet from that Terror Raid event a while back. And it's like, I have to consciously tell myself it's okay. Because otherwise it would consume me that I missed something. So I try to understand that, like, for my brain at least, like, the collecting with Pokemon is really probably the biggest draw for me. But at the same time, understand that ultimately, as much as it's not for me, it is just a game. And I have to stop myself, you know, from taking it too seriously, because I definitely could take it too seriously and probably let things bother me, you know, that shouldn't. Yeah, so for the Nuzlocke, I have had the thought to stream it. If that's something that, you know, you think people would want to see, I'm down for that. I thought it might be, I don't know, maybe a little bit boring because there's just a lot of grinding and stuff that has to happen. But I guess I could do some of it over stream, maybe. And just kind of do the grinding off screen. I would definitely love to do that. I just wasn't sure, I guess, if it's something that people would actually want to see. Right now, in Fire Red, I think I mentioned earlier, but I'm at the Sevi Islands. I'm trying to think of my team off the top of my head. I've got the Snorlax that I think I mentioned in the last video. I lost one of the two Snorlaxes. You know, you get the one on, I guess it's Route 12, and then one on Route 16 in Fire Red, Leaf Green. I don't remember exactly what killed my Snorlax. I don't remember off the top of my head, but something killed it. It might have been a fighting type move that I thought I could tank, but it didn't. But then I went and got the other one, and I have since grinded it up pretty good, and I've given it Shadow Ball, you know, that you can get as a TM from the Rocket Game Corner, which took a while grinding up the money for that, for the coins, because it's quite a bit of coins. But, and like I you know, I kind of laid this out in the video I uploaded today, but like with the Versus Seeker, man, that's like a godsend for a Nuzlocke in Fire Red, Leaf Green, because you can just spam those trainer battles, you know, and then use all that money, especially if you have the amulet coin, which isn't that difficult in a Nuzlocke. I think it unlocks at 40 Pokemon in your Pokedex. And then once you know, get the amulet coin, you know, doubles your prize money for battles. So that was kind of my strategy for that. And then I got Shadow Ball. It's running Body Slam, Rest, and Sleep Talk, which allows you to use a move at random while you're asleep. I decided to replace Snore with Sleep Talk, just for the fact that Snore, while it's guaranteed damage, it's pretty low. And comparatively, even if you have to use Sleep Talk a couple times before you actually get a hit, Body Slam is going to do a ton more damage than Snore would. So that was kind of my reasoning. So I've got the Snorlax, I've got Fearow, which Fearow is actually underrated, I think. Fearow with Drill Peck, especially if you've, juiced it up with some protein, man, that thing can do some damage. Fearow's got Steel Wing, Drill Peck, Fly, and I can't remember the fourth move. It's got Drill Peck, Steel Wing, Fly. I can't remember the fourth one off the top of my head. And then I've got an Electrode, actually, which, its speed obviously is off the chart. It's got Spark, Shockwave, Swift, and can't remember the fourth one off the top of my head. And then I've got a Lapras. And that's really kind of my core team. Fearow, Snorlax, Lapras, and Electrode. I've got some other stuff, in my box that I can still pull from if needed. But those four have taken me quite a long way. Unfortunately, I lost my Charizard like a dummy. And I mentioned this in the video too, but I got to Silphco. And I had a Hypno that I caught as a Drowsy on Route 11. Leveled it all the way up to Hypno. I think it may have even actually had a beneficial nature. I can't remember specifically, but I think it had one of the natures that like actually boosted. It wasn't modest or anything, but it was one of the natures that increases special attack but like lowers defense or something. And I was like, dude, this thing's gonna be a beast. So I taught it Psychic with that TM that you get. I guess it's at Saffron City from Mr. Psychic's house, right? It had Headbutt, and it was actually doing quite a bit of damage with Headbutt because for whatever reason, Hypno's attack stat is actually quite high. Higher than what you would think for a Psychic Pokemon. And so it was a good one, man. It was a good one, and I was like, I'm gonna take this thing into Silphco and sweep Team Rocket with it because they're using all these poison types. And it did for a while. And then, of course, I came up against a Coughing or a Wheezing, one of the two, I can't remember, that had self-destruct and tragically lost it. So, and then not too long after that at Silphco, when I got to Giovanni, I think I was still so shaken up by the loss of the Hypno that I sent out Charizard like an idiot with Giovanni's Rhyhorn. And embarrassingly enough, it got me with Rock Blast, which Charizard would be 4 times weak to. Fire and Flying. So, there's my Nuzlocke in a nutshell so far. It's taught me a lot. So, Robert, what's your favorite shiny or regular Pokemon? I've gotten this question almost every time so far. Yeah, thanks for the question. I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to drill down on just one of anything for me. I'm the same way with anything. Like, I'm like also like a huge metalhead, right? I love heavy metal music. And I could never in a million years like tell you my favorite band. It's the same thing with Pokemon. Like there's a type of Pokemon that I really like. As far as giving you one, if I had to pick one, maybe Zekrom would be my favorite, actually. But that still just doesn't cut it for me. It's so hard to pick. I really like electric types. I like dragon types. I like ghost types. I like Electabuzz quite a bit. I like kind of the sleek, kind of aggressive designs. Like a Dragapult or... trying to think of another example. Like Black Kyurem is really cool. I mentioned Dragapult. Trying to think. Yeah, it's so hard for me. I love the Elekid line. Like Elekid and Electabuzz and Electivire. I really like those a lot. Chandelure is actually one of my favorite Pokemon too. I know that's a really common one, but I really do love Chandelure a lot as well. So I'm not gonna lie, like Heatran I always kind of overlooked because it was just like that rando legendary that you get at the end of Gen 4. What is that, Stark Mountain? And I was like, okay, whatever. You know, it's, you know, the steel fire type thing glued to the wall, whatever, who cares? But dude, it's mega in ZA is so awesome. It kind of became one of my favorites for sure. So as far as favorite shiny, that's tough. There's so many cool shinies. I feel like Charizard would be a cop-out, but that really is an awesome shiny. A blacked out Charizard. As far as a favorite shiny, that is tough. Umbreon is a classic. Honestly, Koraidon shiny, I feel like it's really, really awesome. That blacked out color. So yeah, PP ups and max PP ups for sure, for sure. Yeah, I actually I saved those in my my Nuzlocke so far, and I used them on, I want to say, Ice Beam on Lapras, I believe. So, because I'm hoping, you know, obviously that Ice Beam on Lapras is gonna win it for me with Lance, you know, at the Elite Four. Hopefully, knock on wood. So I dumped some PP ups and maxes or whatever. I think it was just PP ups. I don't think I've got a PP max yet in Fire Red yet, but use that on Lapras Ice Beam. So arguably one of, if not the most valuable moves in Kanto, Ice Beam. I mean, there's Blizzard, but you know, 5 PP and it's gonna miss probably for half of those. I mean, it's just not reliable. So Ice Beam's the way to go. Faux show. Deerling is just not cooperating. I don't know. Not cooperating whatsoever. Yeah, for sure. Lapras, Snorlax, those two. That's honestly probably, I realize now, actually having played, a big reason why, you know, Fire Red and Leaf Green are considered introductory for Nuzlocke, because you're gifted, you know, really two of the most, you know, usable, viable Pokemon, you know, in the decks, just handed to you basically. I mean, Snorlax isn't exactly easy to catch, but it's not that bad. You know, hit it with Thunder Wave is, I think, the route that I went with Electrode, and that went a long way in keeping it from using Rest and so on. So actually, I don't know if that would keep it from using Rest. I don't know that it would. I don't know exactly. You know what? I think one of the... Yeah, I think Snorlax... Well, yeah. You can use Rest if you're paralyzed, but it just, I guess, lowers the chances of it actually pulling it off. I want to say I hypnotized one of the Snorlaxes, if not both, with the Hypno. God rest his soul. Poor old Hypno. Because it had Hypnosis. The late Hypno. So... But yeah, Lapras, I'm running, I guess I've got Ice Beam on it, Surf. I think I actually put Perish Song on it, just on the off chance that if I run into a sticky spot and need to like sacrifice a Pidgey or something. You know, I have that option available to me. So, you know, I can't remember the other move. I think it comes with Confuse Ray, but I'm just not all that big of a fan of Confusion as a status effect, so. Paldea starter, definitely Fuecoco. I really love that line. Skeledirge, as a matter of fact, might be up there with my favorites. Probably like top 20 maybe. Skeledirge. I just think it's a really sick typing. And it's a freaking ghostly crocodile. I mean, it's just pretty, that's just pretty cool. So. No shiny Deerling, that is... I mean, Sprigatito's cool too. My wife really likes Sprigatito. But she also loves cats. A lot, you know, so that makes sense. But Skeledirge, I mean, like Torch Song, man, you want to talk about snowballing some damage. That is a great way to stack some damage up. Looking for Deerling, have not yet found a shiny Deerling, unfortunately. But we've gotten quite lucky. It was 26 minutes in, Mark. We found a rando shiny Tentacruel, and then we got a shiny Love Disc, and then I ran into a Graveler. A Lowland Graveler, shiny, that decided to explode. So, some luck, some bad luck, and now we're stuck on Deerling. Fun times. Yeah, Sprigatito is cool. Sprigatito's cool for sure. Seems like Sprigatito got pretty popular, understandably so. It's a cute little kitty cat. We actually, one of our cats is named after Sprigatito. Spriggy for short. And I do like Meowscarada's kind of magician. There's a shiny right there. There it is, there it is, there it is. Yay! Finally! But Meowscarada's magician motif, you know, I quite enjoy. Nice. Sweet. That is a successful stream, in my opinion. I hate to cut it short, but that's pretty good. So, unless there are any more here that I'm overlooking. We got, what was it, Love Disc? We got the Tentacruel, which was a complete accident. We got exploded by a shiny Graveler. And then we got one shiny Deerling. So let's add that to our box here. There's our Tentacruel. There's our Love Disc. And the Deerling that we just got is right here. Nice. So it's, yeah, I think that's the autumn or the fall form of Deerling shiny there. Tentacruel's pretty awesome. I just like, as soon as I flew in, there it was. Gotta love it. And then there's our shiny love disc, yellow. So, yeah. Quite the successful shiny hunt. Look at all the little deerling all piled up. They're like, what did you do with our friend? It's going straight to home. That's what's going to happen to it. So, well, that was good times. That was good times. Appreciated hanging out with y'all. I can go for maybe a few more minutes if you guys want to. I'm not sure what else we got here that we could check out. I'm surprised we got a deerling, because man, that was a bit of a slog. I guess that Gyarados is off the coast there. And then we've got, let's see. Gallade, okay. Still there. And then Vaporeon. Yeah, I just don't need any of those, unfortunately. And I'm good on the Rookity line. Like, that's a Corvisquire there. Because Go just had a community day for Rookity. And it's like everywhere now. And then we got Zangoose there. Zangoose, I wouldn't mind to have another one. But I think I have one already. I think I've gotten a couple from Scarlet and Violet. Next live stream, I have kind of been doing these ad hoc, admittedly. I've just kind of been putting them up really on the fly. I'm trying to see what the next day might be. I mean, I can do these really anytime. Like I said, like, you guys are literally just watching me play. You know, like, ordinarily I'd be doing this by myself. I would say, what's today? Monday? I could probably do another one of these definitely by end of the week. I'd say probably Friday, Saturday, no later than Friday or Saturday. Possibly sooner. Just kind of depends on what I got going on. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying just chilling out and doing some shiny hunting, I'm down for that by all means. So, but I really have appreciated just getting to chat with you guys and hang out a little bit. So I'll try to get the next one scheduled a couple days ahead of time, so you guys hopefully have, you know, kind of a chance to plan ahead. I know time zones are always a factor, but you know, we'll get one scheduled, I don't know, maybe Thursday, Friday, something like that. And I'll get it put up, hopefully, you know, enough ahead of time that you guys can see it coming. So hopefully this time is okay. I've been doing these about 8 p.m. Central Time, CST. So if this kind of time frame works for you guys, like later, you know, in the evening, I'll probably keep doing them then. So anyway. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, just look for the next one, probably Thursday, Friday. I'll try to get it scheduled ahead of time and see you guys, you know, at that point. So we've got, you know, plenty of shiny hunting that we can do, obviously. If there's any other game, you know, that you guys would ever want to see, I've got Pokopia as well. I actually need the DLC for Pokopia. I have not checked it out yet. And then the Nuzlocke, obviously. Fire Red, I've got plenty to go on that too. So if you guys want to see some Nuzlocke action, by all means, I can do that as well. So very first Nuzlocke. It's not gone, you know, quite as I expected. At this point, I've suffered some losses for sure, but it's been a learning experience, and I've gained a new respect for Nuzlockers. Like, that's a fact. Because you got to know what you're doing. You got to know, you know, a lot of knowledge about the encounters and the battles and the moves and abilities and all these things that I wouldn't have, you know, had that experience with otherwise. So it's been fun. So if you guys have any thoughts in the meantime, feel free to let me know, whether it's, here in the chat or a comment after the fact, and enjoyed it. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.